Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking everything going on in the world of sports. Join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go.
Instead of looking deep inside, every word I have to say, keep it simple.
Welcome to an all-new edition of the ODPH podcast. What is happening, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us this week. My name is Ken M. Joining me in studio, as always, you know him, he's a co-host, Statisticians of Stars, man of 1,004 aliases. His name is Padawan J.
Let me talk to you, and folks, whichever one of you forgot to pay the heating bill in the Northeast, pay up right now. Not a fan of this.
No, definitely not. We are in the middle of a little bit of a snowstorm here in the Northeast.
It's also, currently as we record, 29 degrees Fahrenheit, for those of you overseas and don't feel like doing the conversion, minus 2 degrees Celsius. It's real cold. Like 2 weeks ago, it was in the 70s, and I was in shorts.
Yeah, so Pat's a little fired up. I'm a little fired up to talk some sports as well. And we definitely keep those conversations rolling after the show. So, Pat, where does everybody go?
ODPHpodcast.com.
Right on. Blogs, classified section, which has friends of the show, such as 3 Fun Podcast, Dragmaster Games, Nerd Initiative, and many more. A directory. Pat, how many providers are we on?
918,807.
Statisticians to stars for a reason. Who's your source?
Trust me, bro.
So, wherever you're listening to ODPH on, first and foremost, thank you for listening and checking us out. Leave us a review on your favorite podcatcher. It definitely helps the algorithm of the show. Last but certainly not least, we have a fantastic music section, which has such great musicians as Brian Wolf and the Howlers, Second Suitor, Tom Jolu, Floodlands, Shadow of the Robots. Basically, if it's anything and everything that is the ODPH, you can find it at odphpodcast.com. And if you're using hashtags, why not use the hashtag ODPHpod? So, Pat, it is the sports edition. We haven't done this in a little bit. Where do you want to start?
Why don't we start with, I think the thing that was dominating sports talk this morning and the last couple of days, that would be the men's and women's NCAA tournaments, and specifically the Final Four.
Yes, the most fabled tournament in all of sports. We
It's
can
in the
make
conversation.
You can make an argument for it.
It's in the conversation. I can think of a couple others that are up there, but yeah, it's in the conversation.
Where the pressure is on, one and done. You win, you stay in. You lose, you go home. 68 teams started, and we are down to 4 in the men's division.
Yep.
The women's bracket also had a lot of noise going on there as well, but we're going to dive into the men's one because that was making a little more headlines in certain cases for not the right reasons.
Yeah, no kidding.
So let's talk about it.
So the first matchup you had in the Final Four was number 1 seeded Auburn taking on 1 seeded Florida, and you had Florida emerge victorious, winning by the final score of 79-73. The other matchups you had in the Final Four were the number 1 seeded the other one was number 1 seeded Duke Blue Devils taking on number 1 seeded Houston, with the Houston winning by the final score of 70-67.
So let's talk about the Florida-Auburn game first.
Sure.
Because I think that one will give a little more context to where we go when we talk about the final game. And this takeaway was Florida was the luckiest team in this tournament.
Yeah, I'd have to say so.
They were not as impressive as the number 1 seed as I thought they should have been.
They had a very easy road.
They definitely did, but they didn't capitalize on it.
Sure. I mean, I'm looking at, because they were in the West, I'm looking at their full, play schedule here. They had their first round game, which is number 16, Norfolk State. Okay, they won that 95-69. Second round was their biggest test, was against 8 seeded UConn. Of course, UConn shows up every year. They won that game 77-75. It's only 2 points. Past that, they had them going up against number 4 seeded Maryland, won that one 87-71. Then they went up against Texas Tech 84-79. All right, a little bit closer. And then you get to the Final Four. So relatively speaking, with the exception of the UConn game and then the Texas Tech game, every other game was like a double-digit point win. Mm-hmm. Easy.
It definitely was, but when they showed up for this game against Auburn, they got exposed a bit.
Yeah.
And I will say, if we have to put some question marks, I don't want to say blame.
Sure.
Because they did pull this out.
Sure.
But one thing I was not understanding is Thomas Hugh and Alex Condon, who are their 2 big guys, they did not really get themselves involved in this.
No, I'm looking at the box score.
No, I mean, you want to break down Condon's numbers?
Yeah, so Alex Condon, 23 minutes played, 0 for 5 from the field, 0 for 1 from three-point range, 1 for 3 from the free throw line. He had 4 total rebounds, 3 total assists, 1 block, 3 turnovers, and then 5 fouls for a grand total of 1 point. And he was a starter, mind you. And then you got Hugh, who came off the bench in 25 minutes played, 4 for 7 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, 3 for 7 from the free throw line for a total of 12 points. He also had 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and 1 turnover and 2 personal fouls.
Well, the one thing here that is the big takeaway, and this is just me doing the eye test.
Sure.
Condon's 6'11", Hugh is 6'9". Mm-hmm. They had no real inside presence in this entire game, in my opinion.
Right.
Hugh was on the outside of the key a lot.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that they did not try to implement some will and get some key rebounds when they needed to, because where Florida got hot against Auburn was in the second half.
Yeah, because you look at the box score and the breakdown. After the first half, it was 46-38 in favor of Auburn. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the second half where Florida decided to play a little bit of defense and lock some stuff down, and they held Auburn to only 27 points in the second half, and they proceeded to score 41. This game, though, I'm looking at the team stats, very sloppy overall, because Florida 25 of 53 from the field, Auburn 25 of 57. Ew. And then three-point range, Florida 8 for 21, Auburn 7 for 25. Ew.
Yeah. No, Auburn just had a bad night with this.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, they had 3 scores in double digits.
Yeah.
I mean, Broom, who is their big player, I mean, gave all he could, 15 points on 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Or 34 minutes.
Chad Baker, Mazzara, 18 points. Denver Jones, 10 points. But somebody else you needed to have him step up, because outside that, Dylan Cardwell, 9 points. Then you had Miles Kelly, 8 points. Off the bench, Chaney Johnson, 6 points. Chris Moore, 0 points, although granted, he only played 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then Tahad Petford, 7 points on 23 minutes.
Yeah, so they didn't get enough as they should have, in my opinion. I mean, Broom gave all he could.
And we're not sitting here saying like, oh, you needed somebody to score 20. You needed no, if you get any one of those guys I mentioned outside of Johanny Broom, Baker, Mazzara, and Denver Jones, any one of those, you get any 2 of those guys into double digits, you got the lead.
And plus, Florida got hot on shooting threes.
Yeah.
And their star player, who, mark my words, I think he's going to the draft, and he should.
Oh, boy.
Is Walter Clayton Jr.
Sorry, I almost read the free throw thing. 7 for 7, in case you care. 5 for 8 from 3-point range for Walter Clayton Jr.
And he got hot in the second half.
Yeah,
and in fact, at one point, got a pass and did a spin move to almost like a blind three-pointer.
Some of those three-pointers were reminding me of Steph Curry in his Davidson days.
Yeah.
Not saying he's going to be Steph Curry good, but you know what? I'm seeing similarities.
He was nailing big shots when they needed to. He was driving to the paint. Like, he understood the game. And him and Martin were a nasty 1-2 combo there.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that pushed it over, especially when Auburn blew the lead, because you take a look at the second half scoring.
Yeah.
Florida dropped 41 on them. Auburn only got 27.
Yep.
They ran out of gas.
Yep.
So Florida took full advantage of it, which kudos to them. They wore them down. But I said to you off air, and I said to a few other people on socials, I said, if they have to face Duke in the second round, they're going to get ran out of the gym.
Oh, absolutely.
And lucky for them, they did not.
No. Because as I alluded to, Duke played number 1 seeded Houston, where Houston won by the final score of 70-67.
Yes. And during this entire thing everybody was focused on Duke.
Oh, sure.
And rightfully so. Cooper Flagg, solid number 1 pick overall in the NBA draft.
Duke in basketball is like Alabama or LSU in college football. They're the bells of the ball every year.
But this team was more special. I mean, John Shire got this team ready to go and was really implementing Duke basketball. And like I say, Cooper Flagg had everybody on that team ready to rock and roll.
Right.
So to see them blow a lead late, because we have to remember, at half, it was 34-28 Duke. With 3 minutes left in the game, they were up by 9, I believe. Mm-hmm. And they let Houston come back in, and they went on a 13-3 run at this point.
Right.
And there was a few elements here that I thought, okay, was wrong.
Sure.
And one was there was a late foul called on Cooper Flagg for going for a rebound.
Okay.
The entire game, the refs, to their credit,
Sure.
was letting them play.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
They didn't overstep bounds. They didn't try taking anything
Very
over.
even in terms of the fouls. Both Houston and Duke, 16 fouls apiece. Both of them 1 technical apiece, no flagrants.
Exactly. So they were very even about that.
About as down the middle as you can call it.
Mm-hmm. However, that late, you can't suddenly start deciding to call a shot.
Oh, absolutely.
That's where I had a problem with.
Yeah, no, if you're going to sit there and not call something, 5, 6, whatever minutes into the first half, you can't get into crunch time, where the pressure's at its absolute highest in the second half and go, I feel like I should start calling this.
Yeah, that was the one problem I had with it.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, that was wrong. This also led to Houston's moment where they took the lead late.
Oh, yeah.
And they were in a prized position.
The momentum swung, yeah.
Yeah, because when Flagg went down with foul trouble, granted, they weren't going to take him out. There was no question of that.
Right.
But this also kind of played into a factor about what Duke was scheming ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for John Shire, I thought this was a bad moment for him because if your team is running late, and I can't remember how many timeouts they had left.
Right.
So if they burned them all, okay, maybe that's one thing. But Shire knows the game better than most coaches right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's in that upper echelon of coaches. If you know his IQ on the game, he is top level.
Oh, sure. Learned from one of the best.
Right. The point here is when your team is starting to slip that lead away and you go cold with that much late time, you have to call on some players to calm it down.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And Flagg, we have to remember, is still a very young player.
Yep.
So it's a lot to be asked on him. Now, granted, did he rise to the occasion, 27 points in 36 minutes? Yeah, no question about that.
Mm-hmm.
But still, he is a very young player that you need to kind of really have take over a game. And really, if he's not going to be able to do it because everybody's watching him and surrounding him to double up on him, you have to have somebody else do it.
It's an 18-year-old kid and probably the biggest game of his life thus far.
Yeah. and he rose to the occasion. There's no
Oh,
doubt.
absolutely.
That's the thing about
Yeah.
it. Anybody doubting his skills, no, he is literally going to be an NBA star if he's in the right system.
Listen, the kid came into one of, if not the most storied basketball program in NCAA history. Listen, I realize Kentucky and Kansas and UNC fans might say otherwise, but to me, as a Syracuse guy, even I will admit Duke is the standard. Duke is, they're the top dogs. But he's 18 years old. He's a freshman, and he comes in as a starter and averages 19.2 points a game, 7.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and he was 48.1% from the field. I think there's a lot of teams. I don't know how many teams that actually play D1 college basketball, but every single one of those teams would want a player like that.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question about that. But in this situation, when the lead that you have, and you're up by 9,
Yeah.
you're letting slip away,
Yeah.
you have to either call the timeout, calm your team down, like even if you have to burn them late.
Sure.
Burn them late. Like you have to. Or if you're out, because like I say, I can't remember exactly how many they had left at this moment.
Right.
But at this stage, you have to get Proctor, who's running the floor for Duke and who's doing a great job as a guard, to slow it down, work the shot, really work this him and Nopal there.
Don't rush up to half court. Take your time.
Right. There's no point to
You got what, like 5 seconds? Take the full, it's like the old Chris Jericho method from when he was wrestling back with WWE. I got to 5.
Yeah.
I can wait.
Yeah. If they do that, they would have been so much better to do, but instead they let Houston dictate the pace, which, listen, congratulations to them. Cryer had an amazing game, so did Sharp.
Yeah.
They played very smart in this game, and it showed because they were down, but they didn't quit.
Yeah.
That's kudos to Kelvin Sampson and everybody on that team.
Yeah.
They really hung in there and took Duke's best shot and wore him down. And to see a Duke team of this level collapse, because it is. I'm sorry.
100%, yeah.
You can't say why. I'm a very big Duke fan. I'm telling you they choked.
Oh, absolutely.
Because in this moment, Flagg did everything he physically could.
Yep.
But you can't rely on him. Somebody else needed to kind of dictate the pace because they shouldn't have been in the situation in the first place. They are that much better than Houston.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Houston is a great team, but they're in the litmus test, the eye test, however you want to do it.
Right.
No. not on the same level.
I mean, listen, you look at Duke's record, even just in conference. They had one loss all season in conference.
Yeah.
Says a lot about a team.
Yeah, I mean, this is, a team that is head and shoulders above most in all of college right now. This
I'd agree
like I
with
said,
that.
so you can do any kind of test you want. Like I say, I'm even stretching when I'm saying litmus. But my point is with this, you have a team that is on that team of destiny level of greatness for college, and you choke a lead that bad late? Unacceptable on any front. So, I mean, Duke is going to have to look at their team, which, I mean, granted, they have a stacked team coming in this offseason. They'll be fine. But to go through this much of a letdown this late, this is going to haunt them for a little bit. And I'm not saying we're talking Atlanta, New England, 27-3 or 24-3, rather.
Yeah, 28-3.
Thank you.
Get it right.
That's why I figured you were going to correct me.
Yep.
This is a situation that they're going to need to buckle in on next season. Because unfortunately, Cooper Flagg's dream season is done.
Yep.
He's gone.
He's going D1, baby.
I would be shocked if he was, but he might. But there's like a 2% chance of that happening.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, unless he's really loving college and wants to stay there, but he knows he's going to be the number one pick in the draft. He's going to make millions. He's good as gone.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of this team is going to be kind of lost in the shuffle, too. So we'll have to see with the parts they have coming in. But Houston wins. They punched their ticket to the game. We have to give them their due. Like I said, Sharp and Cryer definitely carried this team into
100%.
Yeah, so they were known for their defense. We get to the final game. It's Houston and Florida.
Yep.
And how did we turn out, Pat?
So you had the Florida Gators win by the final score of 65-63 to become your 2024-2025 men's NCAA basketball champions. A couple stats: Alex Condon 12 points, Will Richard 18 points, Walter Clayton Jr. 11 points, Ho Hum 1 for 7 from 3. Off the bench, Thomas Haw 5 points, Micah Hangleton, just 2 points, and then on the other side for the Houston Cougars, not a lot from their starters. 5 points from Joseph Tugler. Jawan Roberts only had 8 points. Milos Uzin had 6 points. Emmanuel Sharp had 8 points. Star though was LJ Cryer, 19 points. And then off their bench, Javier Francis had 8 points, and Malik Wilson had 9 points.
So this one was a tale of two halves yet again. And this is literally swap out Auburn for Houston. Florida looked very bad in that first half, 28 points overall. Houston, not known for their offense, known for their defense. They kept the Gators in check. 31-28 is their score at halftime. However,
they forgot that in the second half.
It's wash, rinse, repeat. Florida got hot late, and Clayton was running the floor. Granted, hit key shots when he needed to hit key shots. Condit finally showed up this game. Hugh, I don't know where he went.
Yeah.
Richard and Martin were given clutch points at the end where they needed to. And Florida took this game back. And Houston, it appeared to me, and I know this might sound a little harsh, but I'm not meaning this as rough as I'm going to make this sound. It looked like Houston couldn't handle the punch that Florida threw at them late.
Right.
And they started crumbling a bit. And they started feeling the weight of the pressure, which I don't really understand at this stage because they're already that deep.
Yeah.
But this was a situation that when it got to be those final minutes, their guard play was not good.
No.
They stepped out of bounds, lost the ball, kicked in when they were trying to go on the dribble. They couldn't get that last shot off.
Very sloppy.
And to Florida's credit, Florida played key defense when they needed to. And when it came time to get that inbounds, very smart with how they were doing it because that's where Houston was causing Duke fits. When they were getting the ball inbounds, their trap press was working wonders. Florida knew how to break it. They did a great job doing it. And like I said, Clayton did the right things when he needed to. He was their MVP, in my opinion. There's no question about this.
Oh, absolutely.
He's the one that got him to the chip. And now we go into the offseason with your Florida Gators, led by Coach Todd Golden, who was amped up after the game, and I love seeing the emotion on him.
Just don't do like Billy Donovan did the one year and drop the trophy.
Yeah. He was very fired up, so I have to say.
Sure.
But, and rightfully so. I think for everything that was going on, he really wanted to make a point, like they were considering an afterthought because of Duke.
Oh, yeah.
He really wanted to make sure that this team stood out and really brought this team back since, the Joakim Noah days.
Oh, yeah. It's been a while since Florida's always had one of those reputations, like they're good, but like they're not on that level as they were back when, the Billy Donovan, Joakim Noah days. But like they clearly wanted to establish themselves, and boy, did they ever. Looking at their starters, they should, in theory, unless any of these guys decide to declare, they should bring back a bunch of these guys because, let's see, Condon's a sophomore, Ruben is a sophomore, Will Richard, he's a senior. Clayton Jr. is a senior, so they're both gone. And so is Elijah Martin. He is also a senior. So they got 2 of their 5 starters coming back.
Yeah, I mean,
in theory.
They'll do some recruiting.
Oh, yeah.
No question about that. But I think for bringing
transfer portal and all that.
No, that's the whole thing. There are many options to rebuild a team in an off season.
Yeah.
That's why getting to the dance and making a run at it is harder than it's ever been. Because your team has got so many incoming freshmen.
Oh, yeah.
And like I say, Syracuse has got a very noted star coming.
That's what I heard, yeah.
And so does Duke.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yep.
I mean, is it going to be on Cooper Flag level? I don't believe so.
Probably not, but
But still, teams are going to be better, and it's going to be that much tougher to get to the championship. That's why I say this is going to haunt Duke more than anything, and that's why it's kind of been leading the story coverage. Take nothing away from Florida. They did what they needed to do. They were the comeback kids of the entire tourney. Houston and Auburn just did not appear to show up for this. And unfortunately, that's what's going to come back to haunt you.
Right.
And and we'll have to see if they can come back, because that's a situation we don't know. We talk about how these games go, and especially when you deal with teams getting better in the offseason, it's tough to predict.
Oh, yeah.
So, like we say, it's kudos to them on that.
Yeah.
For Florida, and then everybody else is going to have to really put it together. And then on the women's side of things,
oh boy, you want to talk about some shocking things that went down in that game? That's the other tournament. Oh boy,
let's talk about it.
So yeah, your Final Four was the UCLA Bruins, who I think, at least me personally, shocked the hell out of everybody when they beat the LSU Tigers in the Elite Eight. To land themselves in the Final Four, taking on the. Listen, it feels like they're there every year. The number 2 seeded UConn Huskies, which UConn ended up winning that game rather handedly. Holy shnikes, 85-51.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Talk about a whooping.
Yeah, Gino Arimada and that whole program.
Yeah.
I mean, this was textbook UConn Husky women's basketball.
No kidding. Good Lord.
And UCLA, like you alluded to, was struggling against LSU. Weren't sure they're going to get there.
Yeah.
They got there, but they had no answers.
Yeah.
For Azzi Food, Paige Bookers. Like I say, they really stepped up their game. Sarah Strong had a phenomenal game too.
Well, so yeah, you had Sarah Strong, 22 points. Ozzy Food, 19 points. Paige Bukers, 16 points. That's all you really need when you got 3 scores putting up like that.
Yeah.
On the flip side, all 4 starters for the UCLA held to single digits. Angela Dugalek, 6 points. Lauren Betts, 0 points. London Jones, 0 points. Kiki Rice, 8 points. Lauren Betts was more than 0 points. She had 26. Excuse me. It was
Lauren Betts and then everybody else.
Gabriella Yaquez was 0 points. Sorry there. But no, I mean, then you just look at some of the stats for the team overall. UCLA turned the ball over 19 times. You're not going to do that and win a game.
No, UConn's defense is too tough.
Yep.
Like I say, this is Gino just implementing their team will.
Listen to this. UCLA had 19 turnovers. You want to know how many points UConn had off turnovers? 27.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow. Almost a third of their points.
Like we say, they set the benchmark. And this was textbook. Like, everything about this game was textbook.
Mm-hmm.
And then you knew with South Carolina, they were coming in.
Oh, yeah.
And they had a chip on their shoulder. Dawn Staley's been talking about they should have been the number 1 seed overall. Made a legit argument.
Oh, yeah.
And then what happens when they get to the game?
Well, so they get into the Final Four, and they beat the Texas Longhorns by the final score of 74-57. So for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Bree Hall, notable, 11 points scored there. Tahina Papau, 14 points. Off the bench, Joyce Edwards, 13 points. A couple of stellar performances there. Texas, Madison Booker, 11 points. And then off the bench, you had Jordan Lee, 16 points. Not bad. A good showing for Texas.
Not bad, but the key point here is third quarter. it was 20-9.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what did everything in. And South Carolina really put the defensive impression on, and Texas couldn't hit anything. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we're talking elite teams going head-to-head.
Oh, yeah.
So then we get to the final game.
That was number 2 seeded UConn Huskies against the number 1 seeded South Carolina Gamecocks, and winning by the final score of 82-59. Your 2024-2025 NCAA women's basketball champions for the 12th time, 13th time, something crazy. The
12th time.
UConn Huskies.
Yeah.
24 points from Sarah Strong, 24 points from Ozzie Food, Paige Buchers, 17 points. Good Lord.
This is textbook.
You want to talk about elite defense and storybook defense. Every single starter on the South Carolina Gamecocks, single digits.
Yep.
Chloe Kitts, 9 points. Sania Fagan, 8 points. Bree Hall, 2 points. Raven Johnson, 2 points. Tahina Papau, 3 points. The only person in double digits was Joyce Edwards off the bench with 10, and then Tessa Johnson with 10.
Yeah. I mean, the key point is you look at the first or halftime. South Carolina only put up 26 points.
Yep.
And meanwhile, UConn nearly put up 40. So when it's this kind of game, you're going to be in trouble. But this all goes back to the coaching.
Yep.
And this is the rise of UConn once again. I mean, Sarah Strong looked amazing. Booker's looked amazing too.
Yeah.
Like I say, Food did as well too. Like they were running a well-oiled machine.
Oh yeah.
And this is just what we've seen, their dominance in their program. And especially, like I liked how Gino at the end there got very emotional about this.
Oh,
too.
Sure.
Like I say, this is. It shows the parity in the league, which is great for the colleges sports. But it also shows like when the elite coaching steps up.
Well, and it's gotten a lot better over the last couple of years, and that's not to say it's bad. It's been bad, but you just look at how Tennessee ran the gauntlet for so many years. When Pat Summitt was there, Gino Oriema obviously, and those crew ran the gauntlet for years. I mean, heck, you look at the 2010s, and they won the title 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Yeah,
it's insane. But now you've got teams like South Carolina, LSU, UCLA. Like, I love seeing just the amount of competitive. Even Stanford's in there every couple of years. Notre Dame, a couple of years. Just you never know when you get to the tournament who's going to show up.
No, you definitely don't. But to see a program like Connecticut show up, and show out, I mean, it's great for the sport. I really do. I think that for the women's Final Four, this was a great storyline to see go down.
Absolutely,
especially now. To see South Carolina, how they're going to bounce back. And trust me, they will. They will be back here.
Oh, absolutely.
Stronger than ever for next season. They're going to have stuff to work on, and this is going to really raise up the competition level.
Footage from that game is going to be bulletin board material day one.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, Dawn Staley is probably already game planning.
Oh, yeah.
And she is going to have everybody ready to rock and roll.
Uh-huh.
It's a great way to cap off the basketball season for the NCAA. And now everybody's undefeated, and we go on to see what the recruiting class is looking like for the men's and women's basketball teams. It's going to be a fun off season, I will say.
Yeah,
it's
should be
weird.
Interesting.
It's weird to say off season, but you have to see who goes to the draft and who's but now who transfers.
True,
because it's so easy to do now.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So that said, hit us up on the hashtag ODPH pod. March Madness is over. How did your team and how did your bracket do? Let's be honest about it. I know at our Nerd Initiative bracket, Padawan J took home the chip.
Acknowledge your boy.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Hey, listen, I got 3 of the 4 Final Four right. The only one I didn't have right was, I think I didn't have Florida there. I forget who it was.
I still put an asterisk by because of St. John's and what happened.
Yeah.
But
I also have to give some credit to my wife because when I was filling out my bracket, she was helping me. And just that I'd mentioned the 2 teams and what they were ranked, and she'd pick one. So a couple of those I took her advice on.
See, that's the great thing about doing the brackets.
Yeah.
It's a fun time to watch basketball, and you've seen all these athletes just leave it on the court.
Yeah.
So how did your team do? That's what we want to know. So hit us up. Let us know. We're going to get a quick break. We'll be right back.
You ever wondered what comics Mark from Vale Mai is into? What Zach from Left Behind's favorite MCU movies are? Well, Metalcore Nerds is the show for you. My name is Sean Mott, and here at Metalcore Nerds, we cover the latest things in pop culture, whether it be Star Wars, Marvel, DC, AEW, and everything else in between. You can listen to the show every Monday on Adobe Howl at 7 p.m. Eastern, or find it anywhere you find podcasts after it debuts on the radio station.
The content you are listening to is part of the Nerd Initiative Podcast Network. For more info about the home of pop culture positivity, be sure to check out nerdinitiative.com.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. Pad, it's UFC time.
Oh, baby.
One of the most stacked cards of the year.
Yeah.
Easily. It's taking place this weekend from where, Pad?
That would be the KCS Center, American Airlines Arena, call it what it is, down in Miami, Florida.
Yes. In fact, this card is so stacked. Dan Ige and Jim Miller are both on the prelims.
Yeah, they are.
Shout out to Jim Miller, too. Still fighting at this
Legend.
age. Oh, my God. Bless him. But we have to talk about the 5 main fight card bouts, so let's get into it.
So, yeah, first fight we're going to talk about on the main card is a light heavyweight matchup between Nikita Krylov taking on Dominic Reyes.
Well, familiar names of the past because obviously the light heavyweight division, a little bit of a shakeup recently, if you will. So this would be a great opportunity for both to get back into the swing of things.
Yep.
So Dominic Reyes, I mean, everybody remembers he was the guy that almost allegedly beat John Jones.
So was half that division, but,
Yep.
you know.
And obviously Krylov is no slouch in his own right. I know you got the stats ready to rock and roll.
I do. So Dominic Reyes, in 18 professional matches, has a record of 14 wins, 4 losses. Coming on a 2-fight win streak with a TKO win against Anthony Smith, elbow and punches. Back at UFC 310. That was back in December. Also knocked out Dustin Jacoby. That was on a UFC on ESPN card back in June of last year. Prior to that was on a 4-fight losing streak. Lost to Ryan Spann, Jiri Prochazka, Jan Blachowicz, and John Jones. 3 of those 4 were knockouts. The John Jones one wasn't, which I'm sure if you know John Jones, you could have figured out. Then on the other side, you have Nikita Krylov, who in 39 professional matches, record of 30 wins, 9 losses, currently on a 3-fight winning streak, submitted Ryan Spann in his last fight with a triangle choke submission. That was back in March of 2023, actually. UFC Fight Night card. Then he beat Volkan Ozdemir with a unanimous decision win back at UFC 280. That was back in October 2022. Then he knocked out Alexander Gustafsson at a UFC Fight Night card back in July of 2022. His last loss, triangle choke submission loss to Paul Craig on a UFC Fight Night back in March of 2022.
Yeah, so both of these fighters, Krylov is 8th ranked, Reyes is 11th. If you're going to make a shot at the new champion, Magnov, this would be a time to really make some noise for it. I do like Krylov in this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
I'm going to say Dominic Reyes, just because I was looking at kind of the recent history aspect of things with Nikita Krylov, and it doesn't look like there's any reason he hasn't, because I'm looking at Krylov's.
I want to say he was injured.
Well, if he was, it's not on his Wikipedia page, because I'm wondering why such a long layoff. Because it says so he faced Volkan on October 22nd, 2022, won the by unanimous decision. Okay. So then it goes, Krylov was scheduled to face Ryan Spann on February 25th, 2023 at a UFC Fight Night. However, the day of the event, Krylov fell ill and the main event was canceled, and the pair was rescheduled to meet at UFC Fight Night 2 weeks later. He won that fight via triangle choke in the first round. Okay. Then it goes, Krylov was scheduled to face Azamat Murzakanov on November 16th, 2024. However, Murzakanov withdrew from the fight for unknown reasons. And that's all it really says. So I don't know what the deal is. Maybe it was personal reasons. I don't know. But that much time off is cause for concern in my eyes, because, as I've said before, as I'll say again, you can train with the best in the world. You can get, a who's who of UFC legends to come into your camp and soak up information like a sponge, to go in there and spar with the absolute best of them. You can go against the best boxers in the world and learn some boxing from them. It doesn't mean a thing until you get in that octagon and you are going up against someone who is actively looking to take your head off. Because let's face it, as good as those training sessions are, and hey, they work wonders, they're not looking to take your head off. They're not looking to put you to sleep, as the saying goes. They're just looking for, hey, training, build up your stamina, build up some skills and sharpen your abilities, and that much time off. Now, granted, I realize it's a lot of time off, but it's cause for concern for me.
Well, the only thing here is it could have been he might have been fighting somewhere else.
Yeah, it could be.
Because I believe, if memory serves me right, he was released way back when, like 17, and then traveled
could be.
to do something. So it might have been a situation like that. We just have not followed up. But hey, ODPH Society, that's what we say. You hit us up and let us know. So in this situation, though, like I said, this could go either way. But for being ranked where he is, this could be a situation where somebody could skyrocket in there because with a new champion in there, and granted, I know that he's waiting on Pereira, and looks like we're running it back. Who knows? We'll have to wait to see about this. But like I say, I like Krylov in this one. I could see this going to a decision, though.
Looking at the rankings, you have Nikita Krylov currently the 8th ranked fighter, and then Dominic Reyes is number 11.
Yeah.
Next up is a featherweight division matchup, the first of 3 on the card, excuse me, with the first match being Yair Rodriguez taking on Patricio Pitbull.
So this is Pitbull's first UFC fight, if I am not mistaken.
Yes, it is.
Because he has obviously been a star in Bellator, and now coming over facing Yair Rodriguez, number 5 ranked. So this is how you know it's a big deal, and obviously they're treating Pitbull with respect, as they should, because he was a menace in Bellator.
Dude has been around a while.
Well, I mean,
good Lord.
He's definitely got some tread on the tires, as we say.
To put it mildly.
Right. So let's break down the stats.
So, yeah, for Yair Rodriguez, 25 professional matches, 19 wins, 5 losses, 1 no contest, currently on a 2-fight losing streak. He lost to Brian Ortega via arm triangle choke submission. That was back in February of last year. Then he lost to Alexander Volkanovski via TKO in UFC 290. That was in July of 2023. His last win came against Josh Emmett with the triangle choke submission win at UFC 284 back in February of 2023. Then you've got Patricio Pitbull, who, if those of you may not be familiar, well, let me just give you a couple things. 37 years old, turns 38 in the month of July. He is fighting out of Natal, Rio Grande do Norte in Brazil. He is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and his first professional fight, now mind you, professional fight, doesn't count amateur fights. Where were you on March 9th, 2004? Because that was when the man first fought. Out of 43 professional matches, record of 36 wins, 7 losses, currently on a 1-fight winning streak. Knocked out a gentleman by the name of Jeremy Kennedy at the Bellator Champions Series 1. That was in March of last year. Prior to that, 2-fight losing streak. Lost to a guy named Chihiro Suzuki via knockout at Super Ryzen 2. That was back in July of 2023. And then he lost to Sergio Pettis via unanimous decision back at Bellator 297 in June of 2023.
To answer your question, I was in Vegas that year. So
I figured you'd have an answer. I was at home. Yeah. I was at home because I was still in high school.
Yeah, I definitely have an answer, but I can't say that. We're not behind a Patreon wall. So that being said, though, this one is going to be Pitbull. With Yair Rodriguez is kind of in the middle of the pack, so to speak, in my opinion. Has had some key wins, but is on a 2-fight losing streak, as you alluded to.
I mean, dude is about as rock chalk as it comes. 36, so he's got 36 wins. 12 are by knockout, 12 are by submission, and if you can do math, 12 are by decision.
Yeah. But he is also the gentleman who threw the Hail Mary elbow to knock out Korean Zombie.
Oh, okay.
So let's put this in perspective.
Okay.
That said, this is Pitbull. I think Pitbull is going to come in, and he's really going to want to make a first impression.
Sure.
We have seen in the past, though, fighters coming in from Bellator that have struggled on their first bout.
Yeah.
So am I saying, is he going to steamroll this? No. But
No.
I think he's a smart enough fighter that he is going to pace this out very well. I could see a stoppage in the third.
Sure.
Unless he really puts the pace on in the second. But I think he really knows that if he gets a win here, he's almost an instant title contender, as he should be.
Sure. And
then depending on what happens with a couple other matches in the card, like I say, that could play into a lot of different hands. But I do like Pitbull. I'm going to say 3rd round stoppage.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing just because, listen, I think he's got a lot to prove. He had a lot of, I'm looking at some of his recent history, especially with Bellator, where he had some disputes on fight and whatnot. Seems like he's motivated. He wants to prove some of his doubters wrong, and that's often a good motivator. Next up is another second of 3 featherweight division matchups with Bryce Mitchell taking on Jan Silva.
So this one is only on the card and only this high because there is a lot of trash talk between both of these gentlemen. And I'm just going to say this, let's go Silva. And I'm going to leave it at that. I do not agree personally with a lot of stuff Bryce Mitchell says.
Put it to you this way. If one person's house was on fire, the other person wouldn't exactly be getting the buckets of water to help.
Yeah.
To put it mildly.
Yeah. So that said, they've said a lot of very questionable things on social media and such. And this one's fireworks.
If you want to learn, there's a Wikipedia. There's a whole section of Wikipedia for it.
Yeah.
That's all I need to say.
We'll just leave it at that for concerning that gentleman.
Yeah. So looking at their two stats, Jan Silva, 17 professional matches, 15 wins, 2 losses, currently on a good God almighty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fight winning streak. I'll just give you his last 3 because I'm not going to read through all. But I'll say this: so for Silva, his last loss was to a gentleman by the name of Gabriel Schloop de Lima. Was a unanimous decision loss for this. You ever heard of this federation? Sao Jose Super Fight qualifying in April 18th of 2018.
No.
Also happened to be his featherweight debut, by the way. So his last 3 fights was knocked out a gentleman by the name of Melisk. This last name. Baghdasaryan. That was at a UFC fight night back in February. Knocked out Drew. Well, I say knocked out. It was a doctor stoppage against Drew Dober at a UFC on ESPN card back in July of last year. And then he knocked out Charles Jourdain back at UFC 303 in June of last year. Then you get to Bryce Mitchell, who in 19 professional matches has a record of 17 wins, 2 losses, currently on a 1-fight winning streak. Knocked out Kron Gracie with a slam and elbows, it says. Back at UFC 310, that was in December of last year. Prior to that, 1-fight losing streak, lost to Josh Emmett via knockout in December of 2023. Just based on the fact I'm looking at, Christ almighty, Silva's method of win for his last couple opponents, TKO, KO, TKO, decision. TKO, although that was retirement. KO, so for out of the dudes, 15 wins, 12 are by knockout. Dude's got places to be in and a lot of time to get there. I'm going to go with Jan Silva.
Yeah, this one is going to be not very long.
I'll tell you this. I don't normally watch the ceremonial weigh-in things, but I might for this one.
This would be worth watching in for this because both these gentlemen really, really, really do not like each other.
This might be one, and I don't think they've ever done it all that often or in recent memory. This might be one they don't let them stand near each other for the photos.
They're going to keep a good, healthy distance. I will say that.
Get the guys who used to do the security on the Jerry Springer show. Those guys are pretty good.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. Like I say, if you want to go deep diving on the reasons behind this, go right ahead.
Bryce Mitchell's Wikipedia page.
Yep.
All you need to know.
All we're going to say about that.
Trust me. When you get to the page, you'll see the thing, and you'll know why we're not talking about it.
Yep. So let's go Silva.
Yep. So then you got the co-main event of the evening in the lightweight division. Michael Chandler taking on Paddy Pimblett.
Box office.
Oh, baby.
You know, for all the nonsense involving Conor McGregor, this is a perfect fight for Michael Chandler.
Absolutely.
So big payday for him coming and taking on one of the fastest rising stars in the UFC, especially the international market with Paddy Pimblett. Pimblett is charismatic as all can be, but he goes in and fights.
Yeah, he does.
Same thing can be said about Chandler. This is going to be nothing but box office. The UFC could not have asked for a better co-main. This could be a main event on any regular fight night. But obviously, with what is main eventing, it has to be second, but not a bad second to
This
be.
is true. So the two gentlemen's record, Michael Chandler in 32 professional matches, 23 wins, 9 losses, currently going on a 2-fight losing streak. Lost to Charles Oliveira in his last fight, unanimous decision. That was at UFC 309 back in November. Lost to Dustin Poirier with a rear naked choke submission. That was at UFC 281 back in November of 2022. His last loss was a front kick knockout to Tony Ferguson at UFC 274. That was back in May of 2022. For Paddy Pimblett, 25 professional matches, 22 wins, 3 losses, currently on a, holy shnikes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-fight win streak. His last loss was to a gentleman by the name of Soren Bach, a unanimous decision loss for, you ever heard of this federation? Cage Warriors.
I actually have.
Cage Warriors 96. That was on the 1st of September 2018. His last 3 fights. Technical submission win, triangle choke, against King Green. That was at UFC 304 back in July. Unanimous decision win against Tony Ferguson at UFC 296 back in December of 2023. And then, unanimous decision win against Jared Gordon at UFC 282 back on December 10th of 2022.
So this one's going to be a question of, will Chandler get caught with something? Or is he going to implement his will? Chandler, obviously, number 7th ranked fighter in the lightweight division. Pimblett, number 12. This is a huge gamble for Chandler because if he loses, well, that whole Conor McGregor deal pretty much goes up in smoke. And then he has to go, where do I go from here? Because ahead of him, obviously, Armin's number 1 ranked, Charles Oliveira's 2, Gaethje 3, Max Holloway 4, Poirier 5, Dan Hooker 6. If he takes a loss here to somebody outside of the top 10, that is not going to be good for business. On the flip side, this is all Pimblett's to lose.
Yep.
If he wins, he gets put into that fight echelon of the top 5. I know he'll skyrocket in there. But trust me, they'll get him high into there. Well, the next fight he has will be against one of those top 4 that I had mentioned. I can't tell you who, but it just depends on how things shape up. Either way, this is a dangerous fight, but it's a great fight for Chandler nevertheless. It's box office.
Right.
Can't emphasize that enough. If I have to choose a winner, though, I think Chandler wants this more.
Right.
And it's not to say Pimblett doesn't want to win,
Sure.
but I think that Chandler has been too tied up in the whole Conor McGregor nonsense.
Yeah.
That's the fight he wants.
He ain't going to get it.
If he wins this, let's say he pulls out a first-round knockout, hypothetically, he'll call him out. He's going to call him out no matter what.
He will, but it's like me calling out Derek Jeter for an autograph. It ain't going to happen.
You never know.
True, but it ain't going to happen.
We know people that he knows that listen to the show,
All
and
right.
thank you so much for doing that. But he's going to keep doing it because that's the fight he wants to do more than anything. I'm sorry, at this stage there's money to be made, but it's not real money in my opinion. Conor's cooled off. He's not the big draw that he once was, especially in the UFC.
No, he's not.
So I guess at this stage, if Chandler wants to keep doing that or he wants to go for a belt, like what is your call? And I think he has to make that choice here. I do like him against Pimblett. Okay. I think Pimblett's just not ready yet. Okay. I think he's you talk about those fight train or the hype train fighters.
Sure.
He's one of those. So I think he's going to have his hands full. I will say this, as far as I know, this is not a 5-round fight.
As far as I know, yeah.
So I'm going to say this ends in decision.
Could change day off. You never know.
Yeah, but I like Chandler in this, so I'm going to say Chandler in the 3rd by decision.
I respect the hell out of Chandler. I got all appreciation for what he does. He's got a hell of a record. Of course, if I say anything. Otherwise, he might knock my ass out. 11 wins by knockout. But I got to go with the guy from Liverpool. Also a huge Liverpool FC fan. So I got to go.
Oh, you guys.
I got to stick with the crew. You know, he wants to have a UFC card at Anfield, which would be fucking amazing. But hold it there in the summer. Don't do it there in the fall. Yeah. Don't do it there in the fall or winter. Christ, that'd be a horrible idea. But no, he wants to have a card at Anfield, which would be amazing. But I got to stick with my fellow Liverpool fan. I'm going to go with Patty.
All right, hey.
I'm going to say decision. I don't think it's necessarily going to be like some sort of shock knockout or submission or anything. I think it's going to go decision.
Fair enough.
Then we get to the main event, the fight I think everyone's here to see for the vacant, mind you, UFC Featherweight Championship. You've got Alexander Volkanovski taking on Diego Lopez.
Huge fight. In more ways than one. Obviously, Topuria has vacated the 145 title.
Yep.
Can't make the weight at that class anymore. Makes sense. Listen, I'm not mad about that.
Yeah.
So now we're going to have to see the fallout happen here. And this is a question mark that for Alexander Volkanovski, decorated champion, has done quite a lot for that division. 36. Where is he in his twilight of his career?
Right.
You know, what's he going to do? Obviously, he has given a little, run for Makhachev when he stepped up to fight 155, but his last couple, he has not looked great. On the flip side, you have Diego Lopez, who is a star waiting to break out. And this is a fight that can break him out if he should win. This is not going to be easy, but this is going to have a lot of headlines surrounding it. So let's break down their records and go from there.
So for Alexander Volkanovski, in 30 professional matches, 26 wins, 4 losses, currently on a 2-fight losing streak. He lost to Ilia Topuria via knockout at UFC 298 back in February of last year. Lost to Islam Makhachev via KO. That was a head kick and punches at UFC 294 back in October of 2023. His last win was against Yair Rodriguez. That was a TKO win at UFC 290 July 8th, 2023. 2023. For Diego Lopez, currently on a 5-fight winning streak. His last loss came to a gentleman by the name of Movsar Evloev. That was at UFC 288 in May of 2023. Last 3 fights, beat Brian Ortega with a unanimous decision win at UFC 306. That was back in September. Beat Dan Ige with a unanimous decision win. That was back at UFC 303 back in June. And then in April of that same year, he beat Sodiq Yusuf with a knockout at UFC 300. So dude's on a bit of a roll, I would say.
Definitely on a roll, but this one is going to really show what's left for Volkanovski. I think that, unfortunately, it takes away the spotlight from Lopez. Even though Lopez is an amazing fighter, if you've never seen him go, he can go. But it's really going to be about where Volkanovski is at this stage in his career. If he should take out one of the fast-rising stars, then he still can make a claim for being king of that division. If he looks horrible for whatever reason, and this could just be a situation he's outclassed against Lopez, I hate saying it because it's such an early age, but he might want to consider his options. Because if you're going to be fighting at an elite level, you have to take out elite competition. I don't necessarily know if he can do it at this time. I don't like betting against him, let alone 145.
Right.
But I think if this is ever going to be a time for someone to break out of the pack there at 145, I think it's Lopez. And I think I like Lopez in this. I wouldn't say by finish, though. I do think I think this is going to be by decision. I think this will be a true contendership match.
Sure.
Because obviously whoever's winning this is getting the belt. But I think for Volkanovski, if he loses this, I don't know where he goes.
Right.
I really don't. And I don't know at this stage if he wants to try making a run for a belt or if he's good just, riding off in the sunset. I mean, he's at a Hall of Fame career, so he could do either or.
I mean, listen, again, I've said it before. We'll say it again. I'm repeating myself here in this segment alone. Just looking at Volkanovski's record, had the fight in February. That was in 2024. The Islam Makhachev fight was October of 2023. The Yair Rodriguez fight was July 2023. He hasn't fought consistently. And when I say consistently, not taking 7, 8, 9 a year off in between fights. He hasn't fought consistently since 2023. And even that before that, little here and there, hit and miss. But then you got on the flip side, Diego Lopez. 3 fights last year. 3 fights in 2023, 2 fights in 2022, 3 fights in 2021. Obviously, you got 2020 and that whole mess that happened. Dude has been fighting consistently this decade. So I'm going to go just on that alone. Plus, you look at some of the names he's beaten, especially in his most recent run. That's some pretty good names he got there. So I'm going to go Diego Lopez.
Yeah, I think Diego's got this one. I hate saying it because I do like Volkanovski as a fighter. But at this stage, I don't know. And especially if he goes back to 155, where I think he goes if he loses, that's still question marks there, too. I just think, unfortunately, we're going to see a weird passing of the torch.
Probably.
I think Lopez is on the come up. And I think the only thing that maybe is a saving grace, if this does happen, is if this goes to a razor-close draw.
Sure. Which it probably will, knowing the judges like we do.
Right. Like, that's the whole thing. If it's a razor-close draw, there is a chance that we see this ram back.
Could be.
Well, you have to, but I think for Lopez, he needs to make this dominant. I think if this is not dominant, this is razor close, this is not going to work in his favor. And I think there'll be too many question marks around it. They'll have to run it back, but then he hold up the division doing it. I think this has to be a straight up finish. I know we talk championship rounds.
Sure.
I could see Lopez stopping him in the 4th. So we'll have to see if he can avoid the ground and pound and keep this
late 4th, early 5th, I would say.
Yeah, if he can avoid the ground and pound, he'll be fine. But it just depends on how fast he can move and how much power he's got behind his punches.
Right.
Because that's what he's going to need to do to fight Volkanovski off. There's a lot of action going on.
There is.
That card. Ooh, that card just snuck out of nowhere. And
it really did.
Bringing a lot of heat. So that being said, you heard our picks. Now we want to hear yours, ODPH Society. Hit us up on the hashtag ODPH Pod. What is your thoughts about UFC 314? Let's talk about it, shall we? But first, we're going to get a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is Tom from Tom Joe Lou,
This is Matt from Sideroom Sounds.
and you're listening to ODPH Podcast.
Wanna go where no one knows my name, to the desert, the oceans, or the plains. 'Cause I wanna
Coming back for the final segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. Pad, what you got?
Got a couple things to talk about. First of which, obviously, is the local minute, and we are getting down here to the nitty-gritty for the hockey season for our local Binghamton Black Bears. Looking at the standings for the Federal Prospects Hockey League, that is, of course, the league where our Binghamton Black Bears play in. Empire Division. Well, they're in first place by a lot, 137 points. Danbury's in second place with 99 points. Port Huron is in third place with 90 points. Watertown is in fourth with 82 points. Fraser is in fifth place with 55 points. Poughkeepsie's in sixth place with 39 points. And Danville, well, it's a season you'd rather forget because you're in last place with 12 points. Looking at the schedule they had from this past week, they had two games on the docket. The first of which was both of them on the road playing Athens. They lost the game on Wednesday by the final score of 4-3. Came back on Thursday, though, won by the final score of 4-1. Got two games left in the regular season. Of course, all the playoff and stuff, they got everything locked up, so this is just for formalities and whatnot. But Friday game, if you haven't been to a game this season, this might be a good one to go to, although I'd be surprised if any tickets left.
Yeah, I was going to say, this one's a hot ticket in town.
Yeah, taking place this Friday, April 11th, 7:15 p.m. Eastern, at Division's Veterans Memorial Arena. They're taking on the Danbury Hat-Tricks. No, it's not because they're taking on Danbury. That's the storyline. No, it is Hall of Fame, the Hockey Hall of Fame night here in Binghamton. So they got a whole ceremony going on for the folks getting inducted into the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame. They're also doing some throwbacks, some 20-year-old throwbacks. Those of you locally might remember the BC Icemen. Those of you who don't know, they were a team in the United Hockey League that played here in Binghamton from 1997 through 2002. Love the jerseys. The logo was created by cartoonist Johnny Hart. Of course, if you don't know who Johnny Hart is, well, you might be familiar with the work. You know the comic strip BC?
Yeah.
Yeah, that Johnny Hart. So they're bringing out those throwback jerseys, which is awesome to see. If you ever been to one of those games, you might remember the guy who skated around before the
with the lit torch,
the lit hockey stick.
Yeah,
it was a hockey stick on fire. Bring that dude back. Just saying, it was awesome. Then they got the game on Saturday, 7:00 Eastern against the Poughkeepsie Venom. That one is a fan appreciation night, so they'll have a whole bunch of stuff going on there, and then you get into the playoffs. So we will see where things go from there. But for more tickets on and information from them, BinghamtonBlackBears.com. Also, we got to talk some Binghamton Rumble Ponies because baseball season has started.
Finally.
Yeah, I know. Looking at the Eastern League for the AA minor league baseball early in the season, but Binghamton currently sitting in third place with a record of 1-1. You've got Portland Sea Dogs, Boston Red Sox affiliate, first place 3-0. Hartford Yard Goats, the Colorado Rockies affiliate, sitting in second place with a record of 2-1. Then you have the aforementioned Binghamton Rumble Ponies. You have the New Hampshire Fisher Cats, the Toronto Blue Jays affiliate, tied with Binghamton with a record of 1-1. Somerset Patriots, the Yankees affiliate, with a record of 1-2. They're in second to last. And then the Reading Fightin' Phils, yikes, 0-3 to start the season. Certainly not what you would want to see. Then you have the schedule for the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. They started the season on the road in New Hampshire. Well, much like most of the Northeast, was a little bit tumultuous, to say the least.
Yes.
They opened their game up on Friday with a win by the final score of 3-1. We're supposed to have a game on Saturday, but that got postponed due to inclement weather. It was supposed to be made up as part of a doubleheader on Sunday. They got one of those games in, where they lost that one by a final score of 1-0, and then the other game got postponed. So that'll be made up some other point down the road. They were supposed to have their home opener today against the Hartford Yard Goats. However, due to inclement weather, and by the term inclement weather, I mean wind chills in the 20s tonight. That game got postponed to tomorrow as part of a makeup. That one is going to be part of a doubleheader against the Hartford Yard Goats. So you've got game one is scheduled to take place at 3 p.m. Eastern. It is also going to be We Care Wednesdays. So that is where their friends at the M&T Bank every Wednesday is a We Care Wednesday. They will highlight a local nonprofit organization making a difference in our community. Thursday is going to be at 6:07 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be Throwback Thursdays. This one says, quote, "Let's throw it back to the early days when the Binghamton Mets played ball all summer long. Every Thursday is a Throwback Thursday where the Rumble Ponies will take the field as the Binghamton Mets. The moniker from the 1992 to 2016. Take advantage of special $2 concessions, items such as hot dogs, popcorn, fountain soda, and beer, and all upper reserve grandstands are 2 for the price of 1. Holy shit, that's a good deal.
It's a very good deal.
That's an awesome deal. Then you got the game on Friday, also 6:07 p.m. Eastern. That one is reality show night. Will you take this rose and join us on reality show night at Marabito Stadium? Celebrate some of your favorite reality shows throughout the night in a variety of in-game contests and themed activities. Yeah, I saw some of their posts on Facebook about this. I'm like, oh, this could be interesting.
I was going to say, I can't do The Bachelor.
No.
Whatever that whole thing is. No, just no.
Saturday is a 1:05 p.m. Eastern start time, and that one is going to be African American Heritage Day.
Oh, very cool.
Says, come out to the ballpark for a celebration of the contributions of African Americans in the Southern Tier, community, and game of baseball. So get there early. It's 42 jersey giveaway. It says, be one of the first 1,000 fans and take home a one-of-a-kind number 42 Rumble Ponies jersey to honor Jackie Robinson.
Oh, very cool.
Speaking from experience, because I tried to go to the game last year where they were the Binghamton Creatures. They were doing this in honor of Rod Serling and the Twilight Zone and whatnot. Got there at the normal time I would have. Oh, my God, it was the hardest thing to find a parking space. If you're going to the Saturday game, get there. I'm talking like an hour early. It's going to be a pain in the you-know-what to get parking. And then Sunday they have 1:05 p.m. start time, where that is Kids Eat Free Sunday. So that's back for another year. So that is where every Sunday at Marabito Stadium is a Kids Eat Free Sunday. All children 12 and under will receive a ticket voucher good for a hot dog and a regular soda. So for more information, all that good stuff, bingrp.com.
Play ball.
Yep. We should also note they are going to have 6 games this season televised on SNY. So if you get SNY on your cable package, your streamer package, the YouTube TV, Hulu Live, whatever, you want to check out the Binghamton Rumble Ponies, you're going to have 6 opportunities to do so. First of which coming up very shortly here. The April 13th game is going to be televised on SNY. You got other dates in May, June, July, and August. There is if you go to the Binghamton Rumble Ponies Facebook, Twitter, other social media stuff, the post is up there. Then we do have some unfortunate news tying into the Rumble Ponies and Major League Baseball in general, because a former Major League pitcher who did pitch briefly for the Binghamton Rumble Ponies passed away recently. Former Major League pitcher Octavio Dotel was among dozens who died after a roof collapse at an iconic nightclub in the Dominican Republic early Tuesday morning, according to the Dominican National Police. Article on ESPN.com says, quote, at least 44 people were killed, including Nelsie Cruz, the governor of the Northwestern Province of Montecristi and sister of 7-time MLB All-Star Nelson Cruz. Another 160 people were injured, according to the Dominican Civil Defense. The collapse occurred around 1 a.m. during the merengue concert, which drew athletes, politicians, and others to the Jet Set nightclub in Santo Dominico, the Dominican capital. It wasn't immediately clear what caused the roof to collapse. The Professional Baseball League of the Dominican Republic also confirmed Dotel's death on social media. He logged, Dotel, 36 saves for the Houston Astros and the Athletics in 2004, was pulled from the rubble about 6 hours after the collapse and was transported to a hospital. The Dominican National Police spokesperson said, quote, Dotel was taken to one of the designated hospitals. On the way there, his condition worsened and he died, close quote. Started his major league career in 1999 with the New York Mets. In 2011, he helped the St. Louis Cardinals win a World Series. During his 15 years in the major, he recorded 109 saves and logged a 3.78 ERA. So definitely, not just Octavio, but everyone who's involved in that accident. Thoughts, prayers, and well wishes with their family, friends, and loved ones. Yeah, awful.
Our deepest condolences out to everybody involved. Oh my God, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, that's crazy. Ugh. Then we do got to talk a little bit of baseball news, because we are in the early season of the baseball season, about 2 weeks into torpedo. What are your opinions on the Torpedo Gate? Torpedo bats.
If it's legal, rock and roll with it. Okay, anybody else can do this. The Yankees found some people at MIT that knew what they were doing about it.
And some teams were doing it last year. They just were quiet about it.
Yeah, so who cares?
Yeah,
everybody goes to see the long ball.
This is true. A couple early storylines. Congratulations, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 15 years, $500 million. Listen. Somebody had to take the Blue Jays money.
I was going to say.
Blue Jays were offering money to every free agent, major free agent the last 2 years. Nobody take them up on it. Hey, they finally found somebody to do it. Good thing for Blue Jays fans, none of it's deferred.
Yeah.
So, hey, good for them. Does mean well for, listen, it gives the Blue Jays a star.
Yeah.
There's a guy will be a focal point. It's something they've lacked for how many years now?
Oh, it's a very good move for them.
Yeah.
So listen,
Yeah.
I can't be mad about it one bit.
Yankees doing fairly well, I would say. They're doing okay. Currently second place, tied for first place, I guess you could say. A three-way tie for first place. Blue Jays and the Red Sox all have the same record, so they're doing fairly well. A little up, a little down. It's early in the season. Championships are not won in March or April. A couple of other interesting things going on there. You got the Detroit Tigers leading the AL Central with a 7-4 record, surprising the hell out of me. Now, I realize Yankees lost today, but hey, they're going against Tariq Skubal. The pitching Triple Crown winner last year, won the American League Cy Young Award. So I'm like, that one probably ain't going to go too well. But surprising the hell out of me. Although, hey, it helps when you're playing in fucking snow up here in Detroit. Just saying. Out in the West, you've got the Texas Rangers leading the way with a record of 8-3. Hey, Houston is sub 500. That's all I care about.
That's all that cares.
Prayers and well wishes to Victor Robles of the Seattle Mariners.
Oh my God!
If you have not seen that injury, if you got weak stomach, don't watch it. But if you can stomach an injury, go watch it. It's one of the wilder catches I've ever seen.
Yeah, amazing catch, but brutal finish for that.
Out in the National League, you've got the East, where the Philadelphia Phillies currently sitting in first place, 7-2 record. Mets are right behind there with a record of 7-3. So, that'll be something to see. Atlanta Braves. Boy, are you regretting that deal you gave your outfielder there? What was it, Profar?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. 80-game suspension? Yikes. At least we know why the numbers were so good last year. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look.
Allegedly.
Well, no, there ain't no allegedly about it. Man flunked a drug test, got busted for 80 games. Go look at the numbers 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Go look at the numbers last year. You'll see what I mean. Out in the Central, we got the Cubbies leading the way, record of 8-5. You got the Milwaukee Brewers there in second place. A couple interesting things. Things not going good for the Pittsburgh Pirates and their owner. If you know, you know.
Gee.
Talk about the toughest division in baseball. Listen, it pains me to say it's the fucking NL West. Holy shit. The San Diego Padres are in first place with a record of 9-2. San Francisco Giants, who are off to their best start since like the 80s, are 8-2. And then you've got the LA Dodgers, who are 9-3. Good Lord. I hate to be the Diamondbacks and the Rockies because you've got to play them a bunch.
Rockies are in trouble right now.
Yeah, they are.
Early out the gate, I know still, but
Yeah.
if your team is 2-7 and you got some Atlanta's 1-8, I mean, I'm not trying to say the season's done.
Chicago's 2-7.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you have some bad teams out the gate, that's
Yeah.
definitely causing some problems.
Early baseball's always fun because it's fun to see where things start and then you end up and it could be flipped on their head. You never know.
Yeah.
Then we got to talk a little bit of NBA because, hey, NBA regular season's almost over. Looking at the conference standings, currently 1 through 6, in the East, you've got the Cleveland Cavaliers at the 1 seed. Boston Celtics are number 2. Your New York Knickerbockers are number 3.
Let's go.
Number 4 are the Indiana Pacers. 5 are the Milwaukee Bucks. 6 are the Detroit Pistons. Then you've got 7 through 10 who are all in the play-in tournament. You've got number 7 is the Orlando Magic. 8 is the Atlanta Hawks. 9 are the Chicago Bulls, and 10 are the Miami Heat. So Toronto, Brooklyn, Philly, Charlotte, and Washington, thanks for playing. Best of luck next year. Out in the West, good Lord, this is wild. Number 1 seed is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Houston Rockets are number 2. LA Lakers, much to Shannon Sharp's chagrin, are number 3. Denver Nuggets are at number 4.
Well, speaking of Denver,
Yeah.
they made a coaching and GM change today.
Mind you, they're in the 4 seed.
Yeah, they're in the 4 seed.
Yeah.
But the fact that they fired their coach
Uh-huh.
and they announced their head coach is not, or
Their
the
GM
is not getting a contract renewal.
If it smells like a turd and it looks like a turd.
Something has got to be fishy, in my opinion, because there's no way when the team 2 years removed of a world championship does a fire sale like this. Something is going on, and this is not good.
Yeah. Yep.
For a team that could make a run in that finals, but this is a major distraction. So the fact, the fact they did this, I'm baffled by.
And let's not forget, this is a team that won the chip 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it ain't like they've been downtrodden times of recent history.
Right. The timing about this, like, I mean, if there was some nonsense going on, sure.
Yeah.
But everybody usually rides it through the end of the season, and then you make a big switch up.
Yeah.
So unless something was going to self-destruct that team,
Something's going on in the background.
something was going on behind the scenes that maybe there were. And I don't want to do any speculation.
Right. But like you're sitting at the 4 seed, you're 47-32. You're fairly well positioned for at least a decent run in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's not a time to fire your head coach.
No, absolutely not. And then let alone the GM's gone too.
Yeah.
there's way too much smoke to this fire.
Uh-huh.
So we have to wait to see how this all plays out. But
Yep.
I'm just saying, with this close to the playoffs,
Yeah.
something bad really must have happened, in my opinion.
Getting back to the standings, you have the LA Clippers at the 5 seed. Golden State Warriors are 6. Minnesota Timberwolves are at the 7. Memphis Grizzlies are at the 8. Sacramento Kings are at the 9. And the Dallas Mavericks are currently at the 10. Phoenix Suns still in play, though. They're sitting right outside on the other side, outside looking in. Portland Trail Blazers, San Antonio Spurs, New Orleans Pelicans, and Utah Jazz. Thanks for playing. Best of luck next year. So we'll see what happens.
See what happens. I mean, playoff basketball is always fun. I mean, granted, it takes a while because of the play-in tournament to sort through where everybody's moving.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Boston's looking great right now. Oklahoma City is, but it's not to say they have an easy chip locked up by any stretch.
Yep. And then we got to talk a little bit of college baseball because you had a meeting of two titans of college baseball, two of the juggernaut programs in all of college baseball. I'm kidding, folks. But it was a legendary matchup because meeting today in college baseball was Yeshiva University and Lehman College. Some of you might know what I'm talking about. Don't spoil it for others. But for those of you who don't know, Yeshiva University, well, let me start with this. Lehman College coming into today was on a 42 straight game losing streak. Ew.
Wow.
Yeshiva University coming into today was on a 99 straight losing streak. It was the 141 consecutive games lost for those folks. So, obviously with that in mind, something had to give. One of these streaks had to end. Would it be the team from Yeshiva who hasn't won a game since May of 2023? Or would it be the other team with Lehman? Well, unfortunately for the folks over in Lehman, your pain continues because after a 7-6 loss to Lehman College, Yeshiva has now entered the triple digits in losing streaks because they just lost their 100th straight game. Yikes.
Yeesh.
I'm hoping there's highlights on SportsCenter of this because I am kind of interested in this.
Yeah, well, I imagine they have to. There's no way that they'd be able to just ignore that. With that much stats involved, yeah, there's no chance they're going to miss that.
Yep.
So we'll close out talking, I would say hockey, but let's face it, the Rangers are kind of self-destructing a little bit.
It ain't looking good.
It's not looking good by any stretch of the imagination. So
I think in the last week, I've turned off notifications on a couple of the games at least like 3 times.
Well, I mean, we could briefly talk about it. Obviously, they have not played up to snuff.
No.
There's been a disconnect, in my opinion, but I think it's widely speculated between the GM and the team.
To say the least.
Yeah, there's problems, and the team is not doing up to potential. I think, in my opinion, Laviolette's got to go.
Yeah.
I mean, fire him outright.
Yeah.
And we said this when he got hired, that there was like a 2-year window that he's had that you see his track record and things start going up in smoke.
Yep.
I don't know why, but it is. So they're still technically on paper in the playoff hunt, but losing to is not exactly the way they want to do, especially one of them being to a shutout to the Devils.
Yeah.
Those are the last two.
Currently, the wild card holders in the Eastern Conference are the Ottawa Senators and the Montreal Canadiens, 90 and 85 points respectively. They're currently tied with the Detroit Red Wings, first team looking in, with both have 79 points.
Yeah, so they cannot afford to lose outright. They need to get hot at the right time. They got the Flyers coming up on Wednesday as we're recording.
I think it's all Eastern League teams, right?
Yeah,
Eastern Conference.
They're going to need to. So, but like I said, they can't take any more bad losses. I mean, the fact lost to the Lightning 5-1, lost to the Devils 4-0.
Yeah,
and this is after they're putting together back-to-back wins. I mean, they can't go win 2, lose 3. They can't do this.
So yeah, they've got the Flyers this upcoming Wednesday, Islanders on Thursday, Saturday is the Carolina Hurricane, Monday is the Florida Panthers, and then they close out the regular season at home against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I mean, they control their own destiny, so they got to win outright. Are they going to do it? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll have to see. But we will close.
If they make it in, it ain't going far.
No, we're going to win the chip. It's Team of Destiny, we're going to win. They get in, they're winning the whole thing.
Oh, boy.
Blue Shirt Nation, stand the puck up. Let's go. But we will end the show talking briefly about some wrestling. I mean, because obviously everybody tunes in to hear some wrestling talk here at the ODPH.
True.
So this week has been kind of a quiet one. It's a more or less a build to WrestleMania. It's hard to believe 2 weeks away, and then the granddaddy of them all is taking place live in Las Vegas on Saturday the 19th and Easter Sunday, the 20th from Las Vegas, Nevada on the Peacock if you're streaming.
Yep.
So
well, if you're streaming stateside, internationally, check local listings, Netflix, other things.
Yeah. So this past week of Raw, I mean, it's been solid episodes between that and SmackDown. Great segments involving Paul Heyman, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns.
Allegedly, Paul Heyman now is a favorite of Seth Rollins. Allegedly,
there's a lot of intrigue going on, but the first favor was that Punk wanted Paul to be in his corner for his first WrestleMania headline.
Is that a stinker for you as much as it is for me?
Yes and no. See, I thought it would have been better if it was what I've been saying all along, that Roman wins Money in the Bank and the favor is he gets the briefcase.
Oh, okay.
See, that's what I've been saying they should do.
I don't mind that. I thought it would have been, winner of this gets added to the Cody-John Cena match.
Well, he can't pull that. Yeah. Like, it has to be something with Paul. This makes sense because of something way back when.
Sure.
And this might have been, I'm trying to remember when you started watching wrestling.
When I started watching, CM Punk was out the door, but I think I know what you're talking about, though.
So this is when they were cutting a promo in the ring, and this is somebody brought up online. So
I say it's been a number of people, yeah.
Yeah, that there was a thing that Punk said he wanted Paul in his corner. Or Heyman
said when CM Punk main evented at WrestleMania, he would come out with him.
Yeah, he'd be in his corner. He'd be right there with him. So I like that they're throwing it back to it. And let's face it, love him or hate him, Punk draws a needle. Like I say, he moves the needle, rather.
Yeah.
He draws a crowd. And this is a moment with him and Paul that nobody ever thought was going to get there except him and Paul. So I like it for the sentimental value.
Oh, sure.
Because, I mean, it does blur the lines a little bit, but it makes sense. So I have no issue with it. And then the rest of the card kind of was starting to take some shape. We have the latest match breakdown, so let's kind of deep dive into that.
So the two we mentioned, Roman, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, that's going to main event night 1, so on April 19th. The other one we know is when it's going to take place is main eventing night 2. That is Cody Rhodes taking on John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship. The rest of these, to be determined. This one was added literally in the last 24 hours in a singles match. Rey Mysterio is taking on El Grande Americano.
I love this. I love everything about this.
As goofy and as kind of bad in some ways as it is, it's like a bad B movie. There's still something redeeming about it.
Listen, Chad Gable on TV is doing Chad Gable things. Give the man the Intercontinental title by now.
I want to see, and I can't believe I'm saying this, because a week ago I did not care for this whole gimmick and I thought it was dumb, but now they're winning me over, and I want to see him go on a winning streak with this.
Yes.
Just to see how far they can go.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm all in about this. Like, listen, I think this is going to be a great match. And him and Ray will put on a really solid show.
Oh, absolutely. Next up is a fatal 4-way match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship with Braun Breaker defending his belt against Penta, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio.
I actually really enjoy this. I'm not too big.
This could be steal the show.
I'm not too big on doing 4-ways as much as they are, but they're getting a lot of talent on there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of building up the prestige of the belt, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So I will say this, my early prediction, I know we're not locking in anything until a week of show.
Sure.
You got to give the belt to Dom.
I think it's going to be that way.
You have to. Or Finn.
Penta's going to be too tied up with Braun.
Yeah.
And then Finn is going to obviously I think Finn's going to try and screw over Dominic because the cracks are there with between him and Judgment Day.
Yeah.
I think he's going to try and screw over Dom, but that obviously not going to happen.
No, I mean, I think this should go to Dom. Dom has put in the work. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. If you listen to old ODPH and 6 and 7 TWS shows. But listen, Dom has won me over. Dom does no wrong in my eyes. So give him the belt and see what he does. The heel heat will be amazing.
Next up is a singles match between Jade Cargill and Naomi.
I'm happy about this match. Don't get me wrong, but I think, unfortunately, you've had Jade beat the absolute snot out of Naomi a few times.
Lord.
So it's like, what's the incentive here? Unless Naomi goes over big or she has help.
Uh-huh.
So I will say I'm excited, but I'm happy they're both on the show. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
I just think that there's a little luster taken off this.
Yeah. Then you've got a women's tag team championship matchup between Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez taking on, well, we don't know yet. There's a gauntlet match scheduled to take place here. I think it's this coming Friday on SmackDown.
Yes.
The winners of that match will take on Liv and Raquel at WrestleMania.
See, I'm just trying to think if they would add a surprise team in that I'm not thinking of. Like somebody from TNA.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I was thinking maybe something from NXT.
NXT would make sense.
Be a good showcase.
But I could see them adding somebody in. I mean,
because I think the only team I've heard of that's been announced for this was, what was it? It was, oh God, they just had a match on Monday together. Bailey and Lyra Valkyria. I know they're teaming up for this.
Yeah, I mean, they're teaming up for it. I just don't know how I think about that.
Right.
Just because it's like it's kind of a little crazy
Sure,
about
sure.
how they want to do this.
Oh, Christ, you know who else I think is going to be in this gauntlet? They just haven't said it yet, but it's a tease from, I think it was last week on Raw. Oh, Christ, who was it? It was Chelsea Green. No. It was, oh, God, what is it? She's with Tozawa and...
Maxine Dupree?
Maxine Dupree, because she talked about teaming with, I think, Natty.
Well, they might do that. I mean, that would be solid, too. I would not object to it.
Because if you remember, she went to... Adam Pearce.
Yeah.
And was like, hey, I want to talk to you about getting Tozawa and Otis a match. He's like, oh, great. Let's talk. She's like, oh, I also want to talk about the women's tag team division. She's like, I got an idea for me and Natty. And he's like, I love ideas for this. Let's go talk.
Well, I mean, they do have a deep division. So,
yeah.
I mean, however they want to do this. I'm just saying, I wouldn't doubt if they want to have maybe the TNA Knockouts champions at the time.
Sure.
Because I know currently, I believe it's Ash and Heather by Elegance.
Yeah, something like that.
I want to say. I'm blanking because I know that their singles division is like amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if they wanted to throw it back, I would be all right with Jordan Grace coming up there with Masha Slamovich. I'm just putting it out there. But nevertheless, there'll be a great showing on Friday night with the gauntlet match.
Yeah.
Like I say, I don't know if I like Lyra and Bailey because I think it could be more of a better feud than anything. But we'll have to see.
Next up is a singles match for the WWE United States Championship with L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
Defending his belt against Jacob Fatu.
Fatu all day.
Yeah, much as it hates me to see L.A. Knight eat another loss, it's probably going to be Fatu.
We'll see. It's going to be Jacob. There's no way they're not giving him the belt at this time. No way. I would be shocked if he's not world champ or U.S. champ by the end of that.
Next up is a singles match that was announced last week, I think. AJ Styles is taking on Logan Paul.
I'm all right with this.
Yeah.
I'm really all right with this. I think it's a perfect match for both.
It's going to be like middle of one of the nights.
Yep, but it could steal the show. I mean, Logan is going to go out there. He's going to want to get something viral going.
Yeah.
AJ, no matter who you put there in with, it's AJ. Let him go. Let him go crazy.
Then you've got a triple threat match for the Women's World Championship with Io Sky defending her belt against Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley.
See, the funny thing about this match, the setup for this has been solid, but 2 weeks ago, Io said, I'll fight them both, and Adam Pearce didn't want to do it. So he literally wasted 2 weeks of TV to set this up when we already had it set in place. This could be match of the night easily.
Oh, easily.
I think Bianca walks out of it with help.
Okay.
I don't know who yet. Maybe this is where her and Naomi are revealed to be working in cahoots.
Ooh.
So I'm just gonna put it out there. I think Bianca walks away with the belt.
I think Io's going to walk away retaining. Just because
I'd love to see that.
Just because at every step of this since Elimination Chamber, after Elimination Chamber, because the Raw after Elimination Chamber is where she won the belt. So after she won the belt, every step of the way, she has been getting overlooked and literally shoved to the side. When Bianca came out and she was like, oh, I can't wait to face you, blah, 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 all that stuff. And then Rhea came out because she's like, I want my rematch, blah, blah, blah. You don't deserve a rematch. And Io's like, hey, wait a minute. And Rhea shoved her away.
Yeah.
And then she came back and and then Bianca shoved her away. And then she dropped them both. And then you had the same thing happen on Monday where they went for the contract signing. And again, she got shoved away. And she's ready to leave. And then she did a drop kick off the top rope to the both of them. She's been getting overlooked and I'm not saying story-wise and by the management or whatever else, but just in the way they're portraying this, Bianca and Rhea are ignoring the hell out of her.
Yeah, that's why.
I think it's going to end up being Io. Listen, Bianca's had her moment. Rhea's had her moment. Give Io a moment.
I'd love to see that. I mean, I'm not disputing that. I just don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. Sure. But I would love to see that, though.
Then you've got a singles match for the World Heavyweight Championship with Gunther defending his belt against main event Jey Uso.
I mean, they're trying to make this really happen into something. I'm still thinking Gunther is going to retain. Even though, I mean, last week, taking Jimmy out, it was probably the first time they had some real storyline built into it.
Sure.
But I like Gunther in this. I don't know why, but I do.
I'm going to evoke a movie I know you're a fan of that I think they're following at least a little bit of the story of. And I can't take full credit for this. I saw this online and I'm like, yeah, this makes a little bit of sense. They're Rocky 4-ing this thing.
They might be.
Because you look at it, you've got the dominant champion, air quotes in this instance because Rocky IV. Well, no, I think Ivan was champion in that movie. Anyways, you have the dominant foreign opponent come through, wrecking shop, dominating the hell out of everybody. Goes in and wants to face a friend of our main character, in this instance, Jey Uso. Obviously, unlike Rocky IV, Jimmy didn't die. But, for all intents and purposes, he did. I think they're Rocky IVing this thing. No, obviously we're lacking the whole Soviet Union versus the United States storyline of it, but I think they're Rocky IVing this a little bit. They're really painting this in like a Jay can't do this. Like, he shouldn't be doing this. There's no chance he can. Gunther is too dominant a force. I think he's going to end up doing it.
I mean, it's possible. Anything is possible there. But I don't know. I mean, I want to see how the build is going into that week, and I'll have a better picture.
Sure. And then the last one, certainly not the least one.
Oh, my God.
Boy, howdy. Singles match for the WWE Women's Championship with Tiffany Stratton defending her belt against Charlotte Flair.
In my wildest dreams, I never thought this build would go off the rails as much as it's gone off the train tracks.
It's gone off the rails. It's hopped a couple of tracks, and there might be a chance of putting it back on, but I don't know at this point.
So Charlotte Flair, obviously one of the greatest of all time in the women's division.
Multi-time champion.
Yep. A legend, living legend.
Oh, absolutely.
Division.
Hall of Famer already.
Yep. Going up against the young upstart, Tiffany Stratton.
Uh-huh.
Charlotte has demolished her on promos, to the point of borderline embarrassment.
Yep.
So this past week, Raw's in Chicago.
Yep.
And that crowd absolutely tore Charlotte Flair apart.
And if you don't think so, if the clips are still online in some edited fashion, go back and watch.
Yeah.
She did not know what to do.
No. I mean, SmackDown, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But, yeah, she had to know what to do because that crowd turned so loud. And Tiffany, to her credit, took advantage. However, it appeared there was a line that was not agreed upon.
Allegedly.
That was said, saying about Charlotte might be whatever an O at WrestleMania, but she's 0-3 in marriages.
Well, she's bringing up,
paraphrasing.
You're paraphrasing because she brought up, the WrestleMania record, and then she's like, oh, and you're going to, after this match at WrestleMania, you're going to be just like you are in real life, alone. What's that now? 0-3? Which, again, allegedly, they went off script heavily. And the reason I say allegedly is it wouldn't be the first time that, because this is almost exclusively coming from, the outside sources, the Fightfuls and the Dave Meltzers and whatnot. And let's face it, this isn't the Vince era days where you would hear these things and you could kind of take it for gospel. It's more in the days of they say these things and it's entirely possible that they could be putting this out as, rumors and hearsay, and it might not be true. So that's why we say allegedly.
Allegedly. But yeah, this was absolutely train wreck TV.
It was.
So I hope they don't let them talk on the mic ever before the WrestleMania event.
They will. And
they're going to, and it's going to be bad because somebody's going to want to try to get the one up.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to go into very bad territory that is going to be absolutely trash TV. But, hey, we're all here to watch it because it's WrestleMania season.
Yeah, it is.
The card is shaping up. WrestleMania, like we alluded to, is going to be taking place April 19th to 20th, live from Las Vegas, Nevada, streaming on Peacock. So definitely want to make sure you're watching that. And for more coverage of wrestling along with the ODPH, you want to make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Wrestling Night Live, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Nerd Initiative YouTube for the latest and greatest going on there. That all said, that's it for sports this week. So for the one and only Padawan J.
Fuck the Astros.
I'm your host, Ken. Thank you, as always, for listening to the ODPH podcast. We'll see you next time.
It's such waste of time, swiping left and swiping right on people you could know. Cause anyone who's worth a damn be worth way more than a picture could ever show. You could find the right light, find the right angle, and never find your soul. And it can feel like a losing battle, and this plot is full of holes. This This modern way of finding love just makes me feel so alone. And I can't be the only one sick of staring at my phone. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Don't know that I believe in the old time fable. Everyone has just one true love. All I know is you're across this table, and you're all I'm thinking of. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Talk to me. It's such waste of time, swiping left and swiping right on people you could know.